Welcome to this introduction to microstrip patch antennas. Patch antennas are widely used in wireless communication systems because they are low cost, lightweight, and easy to fabricate on standard PCB technology. You will find them in Wi-Fi devices, Bluetooth modules, RFID tags, GPS receivers, and many IoT products. HFSS allows us to simulate and optimize these antennas with high accuracy before fabrication. A microstrip patch antenna is built from three main layers. At the bottom, there is the metallic ground plane. Above the ground, we place the dielectric substrate, such as FR4 or Rogers. On the top surface of the substrate, we add the radiating patch. The antenna is usually fed by a microstrip line or a coaxial probe. The radiation mainly comes from the fringing fields located at the edges of the patch. To design a patch antenna correctly, we need to define a few important parameters. These include the width and length of the patch, the width of the feed line for 50 ohms, and the depth of the inset feed to ensure proper impedance matching. The thickness of the substrate and its dielectric constant also have a major influence on the resonant frequency and overall performance. These parameters are usually calculated using tools like LineCalc or online microstrip calculators. In HFSS, we follow a well-structured workflow to build and simulate the antenna. First, we draw the ground plane and the dielectric substrate. Then we create the patch and the feed line based on the calculated dimensions. After that, we assign the appropriate materials, define the boundary conditions, and create the lumped port for excitation. We then build the radiation box, configure the simulation setup, and run a frequency sweep. At the end, we examine important results such as the return loss, the gain, and the radiation patterns. After running the simulation, HFSS provides several key results that help us evaluate the antenna's behavior. The S11 curve shows whether the antenna resonates at the desired frequency. We can also check the VSWR, the three-dimensional radiation pattern, and the E-plane and H-plane cuts. HFSS also provides the antenna's gain and directivity. These results allow us to assess the performance and make adjustments when necessary. This completes the introduction, and we can now move on to the detailed step-by-step HFSS demonstration.
The dimensions can also be calculated online using available design tools. To do this, open your browser and search for a microstrip patch antenna calculator. When you search for a microstrip patch antenna calculator, the first result usually provides a reliable tool. Select the dielectric constant of the material you are using. For example, FR4 has a dielectric constant of 4.4. Adjust the substrate height to match the value used in your design. Enter 1.6 millimeters for the substrate height. Select the desired operating frequency of your antenna. For example, enter 2.4 gigahertz if that is your target frequency. The calculator uses standard patch antenna equations to compute the dimensions. When you click Calculate, the tool provides the patch width and the patch length. For example, the calculated width is around 38.01 millimeters. The calculated length is around 29.42 millimeters.
These values match the dimensions that we will apply in the next steps.
Now we can set up the HFSS environment to start building the antenna. Using HFSS, I will guide you through a clear step-by-step procedure that explains how to design a microstrip patch antenna. For creating a microstrip patch antenna, we require three basic elements: a ground plane, a dielectric substrate, and a metal patch placed on top of the substrate. I will start by creating the ground plane using a 2D rectangle. Double-click the rectangle and name it Ground. You may also assign any color you prefer. Click on Create Rectangle. To set its dimensions, I want a ground plane of 60 by 60 millimeters, and I will position it at x equals -32 and y equals -30. meaning the ground will extend from x equals minus 30 to plus 30. Above this ground plane, we place the dielectric substrate. To do this, start at the same coordinate as the ground plane, draw a box with the same length and width, and extend it along the z-axis. This box represents the substrate. Select the box and rename it substrate. For the substrate, I am choosing FR4 as the dielectric material. Type FR to locate it. This is FR4 epoxy flame retardant. Click to select it, then press OK. You may change its color as desired. FR4 has now been assigned. Click again on the substrate object. The X and Y dimensions are correct, but the Z thickness must be changed to 1.6 millimeters, which is our selected dielectric thickness. Click OK. You can rotate the view to confirm the geometry. The ground plane is below and the substrate is placed on top. Now we need to place the patch on top of the substrate. The patch dimensions have already been calculated. The patch width and length. Double-click this rectangle and name it Patch. Choose a color for the patch. On the substrate, draw the patch. The patch length should be 29.4 millimeters as calculated earlier, and the width should be 38 millimeters. I will begin drawing the patch at half of its dimensions, 29.4 divided by 2 and 38 divided by 2. The patch must be positioned at the top surface of the substrate, which is z equals 1.6 millimeters. Click Apply. This places the patch correctly on top. Next, the patch requires a feeding line. To create the feed line, draw a rectangle along the x-axis. This rectangle will serve as the feed. Rename it Feed.
Click here to adjust the orientation. The feed should begin at x equals 0. For FR4, the width needed for a 50 ohm microstrip feed is approximately 3 millimeters. Therefore, the half width, y-axis, is 1.5 millimeters, and the line begins at 0. It is also positioned at the top surface, z equals 1.6 millimeters. Click Apply. You can now see that the feed begins at x equals 0 and has a total width of 3 millimeters, extending from 0 to 3 millimeters. Click OK. You can also change its color if needed. Next, consider the edge impedance. Earlier, we determined that the edge impedance is 243 ohms, but the desired feed impedance is 50 ohms. If you move inward from the edge patch toward the center, the impedance decreases. To match the impedance properly, you must create an inset cut so that the feed connects at a point where the patch impedance is closer to 50 ohms. To do this, draw another small rectangle. This will be the inset cut. Name the rectangle Cut. Click on it and assign the position based on calculations. Half of 29.4 millimeters is 14.7 millimeters, and the cut width is 2.5 millimeters. It should be placed on top of the substrate at z equals 1.6 millimeters. The x direction offset is minus 9.5, and the y size is twice 2.5 millimeters. Click Apply. This creates the inset area. This is the region where the feed will meet the patch. Now remove this region from the patch. To do this, select both the patch and the cut and use the subtract operation. If everything is correct, the inset notch is created. Now the feed must be connected to the patch. Select both the feed and the patch and click Unite.
The inset-fed patch antenna is now fully formed. Fit the view to see the entire structure. To excite the antenna, we must create a port. Draw a rectangle and switch to the YZ plane. Name this rectangle port. Double-click and set the width to 3 mm, matching the feed width. Next, assign the excitation. Select the port, right-click, and choose Assign Excitation, then select Lumped Port with 50 ohms. Click Next. Zoom in to see the triangular terminals. Select the two terminal triangles, including the top layer one. HFSS will confirm that the port is defined. Click Finish. To view the excitation, you can check Project Manager under Excitations. The port has successfully been assigned. Next, the antenna needs a radiation region. To do this, draw a large box surrounding the entire antenna. Use the Draw Box tool. This box will act as the simulation environment. Name it Radiation Box. HFSS automatically assigns air as the material. Click OK. Set the transparency to 1 so that the antenna remains visible. Now adjust the size of the radiation box. Set the coordinates to x equals -40, y equals -40, z equals -20, and dimensions to 80, 80, and 40. This ensures enough space for the antenna to radiate. Notice that the substrate already has FR4 assigned. However, the ground and patch are still 2D sheets without material. These must be assigned boundary conditions. Select both the patch and the ground, right-click, and assign the boundary type Perfect Electric Conductor, PEC. You will see that they are now marked as PEC. Similarly, assign the radiation boundary to the outer faces of the radiation box. Click on Radiation, right-click, and insert a far-field setup. Set the phi angle from 0 to 360 degrees with a step of 10 degrees, and theta from 0 to 180 degrees with a step of 10 degrees. Click OK. Now return to Results. The next step is Analysis. Analysis. Right-click on Analysis and select Add Solution Setup. Since the antenna was designed for 2.4 GHz, enter this as the solution frequency. Set the maximum number of adaptive passes to 20. Click OK. Now right-click the setup and choose Add Frequency Sweep. Select Fast Sweep, choose Linear Step, start at 1 GHz and end at 3 GHz to observe the antenna response. Use a step size of 0.01 or 0.02 GHz. Click OK. Once everything is configured, validate the design. Validation. First, save the project. I will name it Project 1. Then click Validation Check in HFSS. If everything passes, HFSS shows green check marks. Close the window. Now go to Simulation and click Analyze All. You can monitor the progress in the window. When the simulation is finished, go to Results. Select Create Model Solution Data Report. Choose Rectangular Plot. I want to view S11 to check whether the antenna resonates properly. Click New Report. Close the dialog. Right-click the curve and add a marker. The marker shows that the antenna resonates at around 2.2 GHz with a return loss of approximately -22.8 dB. This means it resonates at 2.2 GHz, not exactly at 2.4 GHz. Now return to Results and create a far-field report. Choose 3D Polar Plot. Select the electric field quantity and click New Report.
This displays the radiation pattern, showing how and in which direction the antenna radiates. If you want to view the radiation on the actual antenna geometry, click the driven model, right-click, select Plot Fields, then Radiation Field. Enable visibility and apply. You can now observe the radiation distribution. The antenna radiates strongest in the positive Z direction. This is the Z-axis radiation. You can clearly see the X-plane, Y-plane, and the maximum radiation in the Z direction.
This concludes the complete design and analysis of a microstrip patch antenna using HFSS software.